out here on the Kinni today. It's a gorgeous spring day, about 55 degrees outside, a little bit of cloud cover. Good day for trout fishing, I would say. I think a really important part of success, cold gear.
That was easy.
Well, water temps today looking about 50 degrees. Prime time for trout, I would say. Nice and clear out here. We got a little bit of color, but seems to be typical for the Kinni this year. Seeing a few fish rising down below us. Should be a good week in the Driftless. Guys, another beautiful little driftless trout. Saw some blue wings coming off, so I changed to a little blue wing emerger and second drift. See if we can get it up. So we're looking for rising fish. A lot of times we're gonna find them in the back of a big slick, in the back of a big hole, kind of right before it drops off into the next riffle. Another really great spot, especially as we start to see these caddis popping off here in the next month or so. Right in the riffles, you will find nice fish slapping at caddis, and you can usually tell the caddis rises, they'll be a little bit splashier, where if you see fish eating blue wings or mayflies, a lot of times that'll be a little bit more of a sip. So look for those splashy rises, and know when you see those splashy rises, it's time to tie on a caddis. Oh yeah. You guys, let's talk about conditions out here today. So the water temp, we're sitting at about 50 degrees today, which is about typical for this time of year in the spring. I think flows today are around 120, 125, somewhere right in there, which once again, pretty typical for the Kinni this time of year. Nothing out of the ordinary. We do have, however, a little bit of color in the water. I think that's helping us out today. I think it lets us get a little bit closer to the trout before we go ahead and make a presentation on them. But overall, great conditions out here. Bugs are hatching. I'm seeing a few blue wings flying around, a few caddis flying around. I think another warm day when we get some temps up into the 70s and the caddis hatch will really start popping off. So keep an eye out for that. Be ready for the caddis hatch. It's coming. All right, guys, so I'm just gonna break down this run a little bit for you. So that really nice fish I just landed here, he came out of that white water right in the top. A lot of people don't even fish that. So that's something to keep in mind next time you're on the stream. Always fish the white water. It's where the big ones feel safe. I've been picking up a lot of fish right off the drop. You can kind of see the lighter colored bottom up in there, fading away to some darker bottom. That's a nice little shelf under the riffle, and there'll be fish nosed right up on that shelf all the way across. We've been fishing this spot here about 15 minutes and probably landed about 6 fish all right off the shelf. So that's something to look for when you're out fishing, especially in the faster water. Find those little shelves, little pockets. Sometimes they can be hard to find, but that's why the fish like them. Doing work. I just want to talk a little bit about how I approach this water, how we can catch so many fish from the same spot without scaring them all. So, general rule of thumb is you always want to start, at least if you're fishing upstream. If you're throwing a dry fly, throwing a nymph rig, whatever you may be doing, if you're fishing upstream, always start from the back of the pool. Fish every little bit of water. I always say fish the water closest to you first. Sometimes the fish of a lifetime might be a rod's length away from you, and you want to make that big cast across the river, you might scare that fish. So I always say work inside to out, bottom to top. As you can see today, we've just been working up this little run and picking fish off along the way. I'm just starting to get up into the very top of it, and there's probably a few more fish to be caught up there, so let's see what we can do. Take the little emerger, pop that right out of there, nice and barbless. Same spot. Fishing seems to be good today.